Tweet out. Welcome to episode 143 of the Guardian 1 podcast, recorded August 3rd, 2017, right here on twitch.tv/Guardian 1 Network. My name is Remy, and tonight I'm joined by Jez.
Good morning.
Agrios.
Greetings, Guardians.
And Sharks.
Yes, we're back.
We're going to be talking about all things Destiny, but first, housekeeping.
Hello, Guardians. Thank you for listening to the podcast, however it is that you are choosing to listen. Be sure to follow Guardian1 on Twitter at G1net. That's G1NET. In addition, be sure to check out the Guardian1 website at Guardian1.net. If you want to send us an email, you can send it to feedback@Guardian1.net. We also have a Budgie.net forums group. We utilize the forums for both comments and feedback, so be sure to join the conversations going on there. Big thank you to all those currently in the Twitch chat. As Remy said at the top of the podcast, you can watch the show live at twitch.tv/Guardian1 Network. We broadcast every Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. If you can't catch the live show, you can always find the podcast on iTunes, as well as upload it to the Guardian 1 YouTube channel at youtube.com/Guardian1 Network. Guardian 1 is a proud member of the Guardian Radio Network, so be sure to check out the Guardian Radio Network website at theguardiansofdestiny.com. There you'll find all of the different podcasts as part of the network, including the flagship podcast Guardian Radio. They broadcast every Monday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Guardian Radio. You can also follow their Twitter account at Guardians of D and their YouTube channel, youtube.com/Guardians of D. Other podcasts that are part of the Guardian Radio Network include Ghosts and Echoes, a podcast that contains a bit of fan fiction and audio versions of the Grimar cards, as well as the Destiny lore-focused podcast called Focus Fire Chat. Once again, thanks for joining us on the podcast. I'll see you again next week.
Alrighty, thank you very much, Hollow River. Episode 143. Lots to talk about. It's been 2 weeks since our last show, and this week we do not have Grey Ghost, so I've taken back over broadcasting duties, which is, on the one hand, very cool. I've missed being the one in control, but as is my luck, as is usual, everything fell apart right before the show started, and so 8:33 it is. But I don't know. I'm excited about talking about Destiny. I'm excited to talk about the beta, what we didn't get to go over on the beta, and also, I don't know, what we're doing right now. Sharks, what are you doing right now? What are you doing in the world of Destiny? Are you playing?
You know, I've actually been really, really lucky. I've had a lot of real life stuff that I've been dealing with the last few weeks, and since really there isn't anything to do, I haven't been playing hardly any video games at all, which is really, really bad because I want to for my Twitch streams and whatnot, but I haven't had any time. I've barely had time to jump on, do boxes, and then jump back off. So hopefully I'll get some time this weekend because it looks like I'm caught up on most of my real life stuff.
You started that sentence off by saying you were really lucky, and none of anything that followed sounded very lucky. Did you have something you wanted to add to that?
Well, no, I'm really lucky in that I haven't because there isn't anything really to do in Destiny 1 anymore. I mean, nobody even plays it anymore for the most part. I mean, I have 10 pages of friends that I basically met all through Destiny, and I'm lucky if one or two people are on there at all. So that's why I say I'm lucky that all of this real life stuff is happening right now, because I don't really have that drive to jump on and play Destiny. It's unfortunate because I want to play games. I mean, that part's unfortunate, but this is like the perfect time for real life stuff to kind of happen for me.
That makes sense. And I thought that was I thought that's what you were talking about. That makes a lot of sense. I hope that you're able to get all that stuff done. We're looking at 1 month and 3 days until Destiny 2 comes out. Are you excited? Are you excited for Destiny 2?
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, okay, so after watching the very first reveal of what we were going to be getting in Destiny 2, I was super excited, and that kind of like threw a loop into everything that I was doing. Then getting to go to E3 and playing some, it just kind of reinforced that. And when I got back from E3, I was just like so bummed with just playing Destiny 1. And again, kind of the same thing where a lot of people weren't on, so it just wasn't exciting to jump on every day. Then after the beta, I mean, you play a week of beta and you get that super excitement again. And then it's gone, and now it's just like, oh, I can't wait. I want it to be now. I don't want to wait until September. So yes, my excitement level is way up here right now.
That's cool. That's good to hear. I actually waffle. I actually waffle between really excited and not at all excited. And I think that at some point in my youth, like Christmas specifically, I would get really excited for Christmas, and then it just wouldn't get here, and I'd just be disappointed. So I think that, subconsciously, internally, I've found a way to turn my excitement down on certain things, like things that aren't going to happen right now, things that aren't going to happen tomorrow or the next day. Like, there's no way I could stay up until Destiny 2 launched. So I feel like I have this kill switch inside of me where, I can get not excited about something. And I sort of feel like this happened during the beta, where I played the story mission, was excellent. I played the strike, also excellent. I played both of the things of PvP, and that was excellent too. And right after that, because none of this progress was going to carry over, and because nothing I did right that second really mattered, I feel like I shut down on my interest. Like, this isn't in front of me. What I do have in front of me is Destiny 1, and it's not what I want to play. And I choked it down. I choked down Destiny 1 so that I was able to get my books done. I ordered my shirt the day before the cutoff. I feel really good about that, and now I'm really excited to not play Destiny, which is crazy, because if I did sit down to play Destiny, because I still do go back for at least my boxes, I'm really happy with it. Destiny 1 is a phenomenal game. Like even playing it right now, not wanting to play it, it's a phenomenal game. It feels great, it looks great, it sounds great, everything is amazing, and so I'm just in this kind of a middle ground where I'm not. So, Remy, I just know it's not coming yet. What's that?
Are you not participating in the final Iron Banner?
Like I was saying earlier, life has just been kicking me in the gonads. Like, I've just been, like, sickness is still here. My daughter right now is really sick. I just really haven't had a whole lot of time to even think about it. But I would say that there's definitely a possibility that I won't be playing the last Iron Banner. Now, if there was something like that Banner and Bruise, I might take part in that. But, for the most part, I'm breathing a sigh of relief of not having to play it. In addition, there was still a bunch of stuff that I wanted to do in Destiny 1, but now that I know that nothing is carrying over after the 1st of August, where our character and account data migration happened, I'm just kind of enjoying not having to play it. So what about you, Agrios? Have you been playing Destiny 1, and are you excited for Destiny 2?
A wee bit. I geared up for the Iron Banner this week. I fully intend on, participating in the final Iron Banner ever. I will get a lot of time in this weekend, I hope. I didn't have a lot of time so far this week to play. I have been trying to get a lot of stuff I need to do in real life done in preparation for Destiny 2. I haven't particularly played a lot of Destiny 1 lately, no. But I haven't played a lot of any video game, period, lately. But when I have had a chance, Destiny probably still only makes about 25% of my time right now on the game console.
Interesting. And are you excited for Destiny 2?
Yeah. I am reserved. I have concerns, and I appreciate their lack of divulging everything, but that also leaves my concerns unanswered.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I had a bit of a revelation about the way the weapons are set up, but we can talk about that whenever you feel like it.
Excellent. Right now, I would want to just give a shout out to B4Rue, Belden 0324, Crazy Cat Lady 26, Jelly Belly, Knock, Lawn Boy, YFD 654, Z-Dog 88, and Zion Hill for putting up for our late arrival, like a cool half hour late to the game, and we really appreciate you sticking around for our.
Cheers to all of you in chat.
So yeah, thank you very much. Okay, Jez, what about you? You are our resident not Destiny player. Have you been playing Destiny? I'm curious to know if you got your shirt, and also, are you excited for Destiny 2? Continue.
So firstly, no, I did not get my shirt. More of a not really worried about a shirt. I got way too many shirts, and I bought the spicy ramen shirt, and that's going to carry me to Destiny 2. Most of the game for Destiny 1, I think, is sunsetted for me, so I'm not too worried about it. Sure, I had lots of fun playing it, but there's nothing I can get in Destiny 1 right now that I care about. And I'm just kind of waiting for Destiny 2. And during the beta, even, I played, everything once, and then on my Hunter, I grinded out the Strike to get the full Resilient set of armor, then played Crucible to see how that felt. And, yeah, my concerns are mostly about Hunters right now.
Yeah, I don't blame you. What specifically are you worried about?
Well, the fact that in order to really compete with the other ones actually start out with a Resilient set. I had to get a Resilient set, and the main strat, or the main, what is the word for it? The main stat that Hunters start off with is mobility, which is pretty much useless. And on top of that, I feel like the Hunters almost are just the same class from Destiny 1. Sure, the Arc Staff has combos, and that's fun and all, but if you can't make it to anyone to pull all those combos off, it's no use. And it just feels like Arcblade if you pop it right next to them and kill them all.
I agree. In the beta, I definitely did experience a bit of, I wish that I was able to get out to those enemies, and I'll tell you what.
The only cool part, I think, that the Arc Staff does that Arcblade never did was that basically death from above.
Yeah, the ground slam.
Yeah.
I thought that was really excellent. And I really enjoyed the combos. I like that they've added combos into the game. I feel like that changes it up a bit. I feel like that adds a layer of skill. Instead of just spamming the button and jumping around and killing everything, you can choose mid activity what exactly you wish to do. So I think that that's really cool. And I actually really enjoyed the Arc Strider. I just wish there was a little bit more of a support for for the hunter. But I tell you what, I feel like what they've done with it is that they've put it firmly into that DPS role. You know, like we discussed previously. You know, probably one of the very first episodes, you were saying that basically every class is DPS, and at this point, there's a very clear here is a low shield that, you know, once you duck down behind and you pop back up again, your weapon is, you know, is reloaded. Here is a rift that either gives you more, like, faster health regeneration, or it gives you more damage. Like, there is clear paths to be helpful to your teammates, and then here's this hunter who kind of does this bunny hop, you know, like, I'm waiting for someone to make like a gif where there's like a skateboard under the hunter when they do that.
I think one of the worst parts about that little bunny hop is, sure, you reload your ammo, but so doesn't the Titan again and again and again and again, whereas you do it once and you gotta wait. So I don't really see the advantage of it over a Titan shield.
Right, absolutely. I'm really looking hard to see what the point of playing the hunter is at this point, because you're right, the shield is fantastic, and I feel like those two things don't balance out. I feel like when you throw the shield down, by the time that shield is done, you're halfway to another shield. It doesn't make sense to like do your bunny hop and then you're just waiting all of that time to be able to do it again. It doesn't make sense. So yeah. So I'm curious to know, Jez, did you do everything in the book that was going to give you those 7 emblems, or did you also not care about those emblems in addition to not caring about the shirt?
I wasn't too worried about getting that last emblem. I got to the first cutoff point for the emblems that carry over to Destiny 2, but I wasn't going to get all the way to Destiny 2 levels, because if I'm not playing it like as you guys would play it, like just continuously playing it, it would just be a grind for me, because I'd just be going out there, okay, now I need to kill this many things with a hunter, and throw this many grenades to kill things with grenades, and use my super this many times to generate this many orbs, rather than just playing the game.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going to punish myself that way, because it would almost put a damper on Destiny itself. It would make me feel like it was a chore.
Totally.
And I didn't really need that.
Totally, no. And it did become a chore for me. I didn't even want to play video games at one point because because of how sick I was. Watching the TV and using a controller was throwing me off. But I feel like I didn't get the Year 2 shirt. And then I see people wearing their Year 2 shirt, and I think, man, I wish I had gotten that Year 2 shirt. Like, I earned it. I just never purchased it. And then when I started, like, I try and do this thing every now and then where I psych myself up about the present by pretending that I've just come from the future. Like, imagine yourself 10 years from now, 20 years from now, stay there for a minute, stay there for 5 minutes, imagine what's going on, and then think, man, I wish I could go back 10 or 20 years to, you know, August 3rd, 2017, and then boom, there you are, 10 years in the past. What would you change? What would you do differently? And so one of the things that I saw...
I would get a different color shirt.
One of these things that I saw during these trips to the future and back is I really wish that I had that Year 3 shirt. I really wish that I had that shirt just because I don't want to be that person who doesn't have it. And I'm thinking what I'm going to do is get one of those cases that you hang on the wall, and then I'll just put it up there, because I'm not really a t-shirt guy. I'm wearing a t-shirt right now against my wishes, because it is like 1,000 degrees in my house, and there's a PC right on the other side of this monitor, and there's a PC right down here, and I've got a fan right here that's basically blowing right up my skirt, and it's like, it's just not enough. You know, right downstairs there's an AC, and I wish that I was down there right now. But man, I really want to do the show. I really want to talk about Destiny. So I'm gonna have a good time. I'm gonna sit here and sweat to death. I'm gonna have a good time with you guys. We're gonna have a great time, or at least I'm going to, whether I want to or not. So I wanted to get that shirt. I know I'm waiting 3 or 4 weeks for it. Probably show up right around the time that Destiny 2 drops. Well, excellent. Why don't we go to Agrios and see what we have Actually, you know what? I'm curious to know. So you are done with Destiny 1, yes, Jez? Like, you're just...
Probably, unless someone's like, yeah, we need a 6 for a raid. I
Okay.
can certainly jump on, because I have my character still. I didn't delete it like some weird people.
Right? Weird people out there in the community. Like, I understand you might not play Destiny 1 ever again, but, what about all your progress? You know what I really wish they had done? I really wish they had done something special with this Iron Banner, and I don't know why I keep expecting them to change their ways. Like, specifically, they should have just offered up all of the gear. Like, when you go to Aphrodite, you should have just been able to buy all of the gear. It should have been one of each piece of gear that's been available this whole time. That way, you can round up whatever it is that you want to get while she's here this last time. Like, it didn't make sense to me when it was just some regular drop. Like, why wouldn't they make this one special? And I know that...
Wait, no, I gotta say something to that. Okay, you know what? This is the only... I'm totally 1,000% surely happy that they did not do what you are saying right now, because this is the one giant complaint that I've had with Bungie ever since I started playing Destiny, is them coming back at the very, very end and just giving away shit that people have been grinding for donkey's ages, all right? So, good on you, Bungie. Don't listen to Remy. Remy's full of shit right now. He's still recuperating, okay? That's all I wanted to say. I had to get my rant in.
I appreciate you saying that. I just feel like because they did it with everything else, like here is everything that's ever been done. Remember when we said you're never going to get this zombie dance again? Here it is, randomly in the middle of a strike. Like I just feel like I don't understand why they did it with all these other things and then they didn't do it with this. That's what doesn't make sense to me. Like, I get what you're saying, and I'm on board with that. Like, there's things that I got when those things came out that I'm not sad that they showed up again, but they hold very little value now because just everyone can get them. Like, what was the point of spending $37 on that when I've got it. I've got it all. Everything that I ever wanted. From all of the different time periods. I got the wolf's mask, I got the skull thing, and it's cool, but I don't know. I just feel like it would have been nice for them to have something different for this Iron Banner. Like it's just some regular Iron Banner. I don't know. Agrios, will you be playing some Iron Banner?
Yeah, definitely. I got all my characters all geared up, ready to go. I plan on probably getting on later tonight and playing some, and I don't know. I plan on getting at least one of my characters to rank 5 just to complete the final Iron Banner. I'm nostalgic like that. So
that's cool. Are you looking for anything in particular, or are you just doing it for the reason you mentioned?
Just because I enjoy playing it.
Interesting. Okay. What do you got, Agrios, as far as news for us?
Well, I got lots of stuff. What do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about the beta, or you want to talk about PC?
Oh man, I don't even know. I'm out of sorts and I'm melting. So, what do you want to talk about?
Well, let's talk about the beta. We all got to play in the beta and got to kind of test the waters. It was obviously a much more watered down beta than the original Destiny's beta, and I think that was in some ways good and in some ways worse. I would have liked to have seen some progression, both in I think that they would have garnered valuable feedback from the community from the beta if they would have displayed some of the progression or leveling, how that was going to work at least a little. And also just personally, when I get to play a beta or a demo or something like that, that's information I like to take with me just so I can plan my future as I play the real game itself. Like, I can anticipate, I can make smart moves because I understand how things are going to level and things like that. So it's a mixed bag. I enjoyed the lack of content, but I would have, like I said, like to see some progression.
Yeah, I think that what you were saying earlier is it's a good and a bad thing. You know, like they did a good job not showing off a lot of stuff, but that just leaves you with questions about whether any of that you're hoping for that they didn't show is there at all. So, I don't know. Continue with what you're saying.
Well, what were your before we get to well, actually, yeah, I'll do it this way. So, in the beta, there were various things that that were discovered that could happen, and hopefully, you know, they fix some of these up by launch time. There were 8-man raids. People were able to do the infinite supers by hopping on the pikes. There are a lot of things like that were problems at different points in Destiny 1 that popped up in the very small amount of things we had to play with in the beta. Is that concerning to any of you?
I think that was the point of the beta. I think that was the. I think that's exactly what they expected to have happen. You know, they've said previously when they do something like this, like when they launch a game or they put out new content, you know, in the first hour, more people have played that than the entire time they've ever had testing it. So I feel like that's what they were saying. They basically said, come in and break our game because you doing it now isn't going to have a negative effect on the rest of the community. You know, like the infinite super glitch, that could definitely have been a problem. You know, or like if they were able to carry that into like PvP, ruining people's time that way. I feel like that's exactly what the point of the beta was. They basically said, you know, oh, I bet you can't break our game, and then their game was broken.
You know, I agree. I agree with what you're saying, Remy. But I've been thinking about this because we kind of touched on this a few weeks back. I don't understand how. The more and more I thought about it, I don't understand how the exact same problems that we had in Destiny 1 that they patched were able to make their way into Destiny 2, and you have those issues, or you get into those issues by doing the exact same thing that they originally did in Destiny 1. The infinite supers, the riding on pikes, the list is pretty extensive, and I find it really odd. I could understand if, okay, one thing got through or something different got through, or you did it a different way, but to literally do it the exact same way, and I don't know, it seems weird. Don't you guys think that seems weird?
That's why I brought it up. I absolutely agree with you 100%. Like, it concerns me that something as simple as the Pike super glitch makes it this far through their testers and everything else. Like, wouldn't just testing for all the exact same glitches that are in Destiny 1 be, you know, something that you would do in Destiny 2? It just concerns me that we're only this many weeks from launch and that something like that made it into the beta.
Right.
Could have already been patched out.
Could have.
That's a good point, Jez.
Yeah, possibly. But I don't know. It still seems
like.
So why did it even make it that far?
Gotten to that point.
The thing is, with bugs, they're not going to squash the ones that aren't like crashing to the desktop first. They're going to. They are going to stop the ones that crash the desktop first. So that bug was probably pretty low on the totem pole, and they know to just fix it before launch. It's like most things, they don't have to worry about people getting infinite supers in a beta for one strike, because it's not really affecting anything, and it doesn't carry on to the next game. So they didn't have to be like, oh, this is in the beta, we have to get rid of it before we send it to everyone that's playing. They'd rather keep it in and not potentially break something else to have to delay the beta.
That makes a lot of sense. You know, sometimes, Jez, I think to myself, I think to myself, it's really great having Jez here, but what is he doing here? What is Jez still doing talking about Destiny with us assholes? Like, I don't get it. Like I don't understand why you're still here. If I was you, I would have been so tired of us so long ago. And about Destiny, we're not even talking about a game that you're like actively playing or have played for a great majority of the time.
Yeah, so let's all talk about Marvel Heroes Omega, guys.
Right? Let's talk about
it's like Diablo.
But I love having you on the show because you always think of these great things, and that's definitely a possibility. Definitely low on the totem pole. Definitely didn't want to, what was the point of breaking that before the beta? How old is this build anyways? So there's a ton of things that could go into it. Let's see. ZDog88 brought up something that I've been thinking. He says copy paste old code, and I feel like it's entirely possible that some of the code from Destiny 2 could have just been lifted right out of Destiny 1. When they went from Halo to Destiny, they weren't allowed to use any of that old stuff. They had to start completely from scratch there. But I feel like in some aspects, like why not reuse some of the code? Why not reuse some of the animations or something? I mean, I understand.
So wait, no, I got it now. Okay, so you're going to get me going on a topic that Agrios and I had during my stream.
So we should reuse the art as well.
For 3 hours, we had this discussion because I was waiting in the farm so that my wife could come home and be in the farm with us and kick around the ball or whatever. Okay, that bugs me. And now code doesn't really bug me. Okay, but copying and pasting other things into the game, into this new game, that bugs me.
So to give you a little background on the conversation, Sharks is against. I said that what I would be happy about. In fact, it would be a bonus to me, is if in the new game, we got to get to Earth and it's the Cosmodrome, and there's a huge Cosmodrome there, and the old Cosmodrome from Destiny 1 is there, but it's only like 1/8 of the whole Cosmodrome.
I mean, on that continue.
And I would be happy to still be able to go back to the places I remembered in the old Cosmodrome and then see the grand scale of how it expands out, like beyond, that, as long as it was large enough and that the old stuff was just a tiny portion of the new stuff. But Shark says that's, quite the opposite of a bonus for him.
I actually agree with you, Agrios. I think it would be cool to have exactly that. And you know what? And when I think about Destiny 2, like I want it to be. I would be happy. I would be thrilled with more along the lines of a Destiny 1.5 or a Destiny 1.75. Like I don't need them to rewrite all of the same stuff that I want to have again in this next game. Like Destiny 1, the way the gameplay is, represents a really fantastic feeling. Like I don't want all of that redone. I don't need all of that redone. And if it's something that they can reuse without it being like, oh, well, this is just Destiny 1, reskinned, like I do want more content. I do want other places, but I wouldn't at all be sad to revisit some of the same places that we've had. Jez, what do you think about this?
I mean, depends on what they do. If they recopy the code and be like, okay, we're done, and then leave, or copy the code and be like, okay, now we have more time to work on other stuff. It depends on what their attitude is. If it's to work on other stuff and just have the old code or the old places there, it's perfectly fine by me.
Right. I definitely feel exactly that same way. If them reusing some portions of it mean they get to focus on other aspects, that makes a lot of sense. I definitely like the idea of their attitude behind it. And I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I feel like a lot of it comes back down to that. So Sharks, how much needs to be new for you to not be down on Destiny 2? How much of it needs to be just straight up, they just made this brand new? Like, let's say they kept the way the character looks up, down, left, and right, and then the movement left, right, forward, and backwards. If they just copied that, would that take away from Destiny 2 from you?
Okay, so my issue isn't with movements or things like that, like bringing in Zavala. My issue would be copying all of the Cosmodrome, bringing that in, and putting that in there in this $60 game that you're paying. Okay, it's really hard to give numbers to it because I can't see a company doing that. But I look at it like this. Okay, so remember when we did that mission where it was the strike backwards? Okay, and a lot of people were upset about that. It was cool. Don't get me wrong. It was really neat. It was very different than what the strike was, but it literally was the strike backwards. Okay, and we paid an awful lot of money for that as a big chunk of what we got. And so I look at something like, let's say, the Cosmodrome. If they brought in the Cosmodrome, you know, they're not going to say, okay, well, here's the Cosmodrome and we're going to build, 4 more Cosmodromes and put that in your DLC. They're going to say, okay, here's a Cosmodrome. That's probably like a third of your DLC, but you're still going to pay $60. And so that's where I would have an issue with it. I would rather just see all new stuff. Again, I see where you guys are coming from, where it would be neat to go back to some of that stuff. Yeah, easy for them to copy paste and put Cabal all over the place and do different things. But at the same time, this is an all new game. This isn't an MMO like World of Warcraft where you can travel to different parts of those maps and go back to those things. This is literally, it's a new game. So it should all be new. That's how I look at it. Not counting like reusing things like Fallen, which they have for the most part, like the Vex, which they have. I mean, I'm sure that they've added stuff. I mean, we know they have with the Cabal, but I mean, I know you're going to use some things in the universe, but not necessarily whole areas like the Cosmodrome.
Okay, so I see what you're saying, and you know what? I can get on board with that idea because, for example, if they added in the sections that we already have access to, then you wouldn't know what percentage that they consider that, oh, well, here's brand new in Destiny 2, but if they don't add in any of the original areas, then you know that 100% of the things you haven't seen are 100% of the game that you're purchasing. So it's not like, oh, well, here's 75% of a new game and 25% this other stuff that you've already seen. Right. That makes sense to me. And I don't know that I've even seen any creature that looks exactly the same. Like, I feel like the models for the Vex and the models for the Fallen are different. And when I see somebody complaining that there's that they're using those same enemies, I feel like it only makes sense. I feel like it only makes sense to continue to fight the Vex and the Fallen. Like, it's not like Destiny 2 takes place on the other side of the galaxy or something. We're still talking about Earth. We're still talking about I'm curious to know how much time has passed between the events of Wrath of the Machine and Destiny 2. Like, how long has it been?
I've got a question for Sharks. How much is that 75% of the game that's new? Like, what if there is twice as much content that's new in Destiny 2, but there's also this extra Cosmodrome? Does the Cosmodrome still detract from your purchase?
I think Sharks is saying a bit of, if they spend any time trying to put that into the new game, that's time that could have been spent on new content.
No, yeah, no. Okay, so
here,
let's put it this way. Okay, if they were to go and do their live team, their live team would say, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go back and reskin old content and give that to the player for free. Okay, I don't have an issue with that. Taking content that they produce, though, Cosmodrome, Dreadnought, whatever, Venus, and saying, okay, well, we're going to use that in this whole new game. If you're going to do that, you're going to have to give me the same amount of content that you would for the game, plus add that on top. That's how I'm saying. And of course, you're not really going to know that. I mean, you can kind of with like how big files are. I mean, everybody, if the size, of course, there's been this week that there's this thing up in the air about the size of the download. But if the size of the download of Destiny 2 is really the size that people are saying, then it's actually bigger than all of Destiny 1 with all of expansions. That's amazing. So, then they could have put this content that Agrios is talking about, like the Cosmodrome, in there and add it, because nobody would have expected to get that big of a game, that extra stuff. But if they were to go and sell me Destiny 2 the same size that Destiny 1 was, and they have put that old content in, I would feel cheated.
I figured it out. I got an idea. What if they did it like Rock Band, right? So Rock Band 1 comes out, and you have this list of songs. Rock Band 2 comes out, and they don't have any of the original songs, but if you have the original Rock Band 1 disc, you can import all of those into Rock Band 2. Like that, there it is right there. That gives value to the Destiny 1 content. That gives value to the people who played Destiny 1, and then that still sells more Destiny 1 after Destiny 2 is released. Hey, I want to go back and retread these old grounds. There's like new story missions there, but you have to have purchased Destiny 1. That would add to it in a way that doesn't take away from even their future DLCs. If you're able to just pull that content forward with you.
The problem is all that stuff has to be updated for the new system. I mean, we're putting out different resolutions and stuff. Like, how much of that extra space is being taken up because they're supporting 4K on PS Pro?
I know that. Well, I mean, that's why I say that's why it's really hard to say percentages or file sizes and stuff like that, and that's why it would be easier for them just not to do it. I don't want to see it unless it was a free update. Like I say, they added as free updates. That would be totally different,
No matter how you look at it, it's not cut and paste. Like,
No, it's not.
People are going to spend quite a few hours putting that old content into the new content.
No, you're right.
It's got to be a conscious choice for the betterment of or at least they think it's for the betterment of everybody, for the story, for the game, for everything.
Right. Well,
it's going to be an investment to do it.
My other argument with Agrios during this long conversation about this, and I think that we should kind of cut this after kind of short, but is that the players that, like on this panel here, put thousands of hours into Destiny 1, do you truly want to see that same old shit again?
Yes.
Yes. I want to see how it's evolved over time as well.
That would be something too.
I like progression.
I feel like it would be worth it. I feel like it would be worth it to go back to those things.
As long as the new content is huge relative to it. Like, that's part of it. Like,
why not wait until Destiny 3 or Destiny 4 until then to bring back old content? I mean, if you listen to lots of other people in the community have said this, that they would like to see some of the old stuff, but they don't want to see it right away.
No,
well, here's my thing. If I'm not going back to all these places that we already have patrol beacons set up in, that we already have things laid out in, if we're not going back there, I need a story reason why.
There's a big ass war going on. and you're being attacked by the Cabal.
I find it horribly
destroyed
unrealistic.
all the outposts.
When games don't let you go to places where you clearly can be or have been and want to be again.
Okay, so in this case, there would have to be like a cutscene, like here's the steps, and then just overrun by lava, and then here's the dreadnought and overrun by lava.
Yeah, right.
Jez,
Exactly.
what do you think about this? What do you think about reusing content in this manner, or like Rock Band, or Down the Road? Like, I can definitely see Down the Road making a lot of sense. You know, like maybe even like what Sharks is saying, Destiny 3. By that time, you know, if you hadn't gone back and played Destiny 1 for one reason or another.
I kind of already touched on it, but also I want to add that for some people, it has been 2 years since they've been in the Cosmodrome.
That's true. That's true. I suppose that once that as the content progressed, like for me, I have not been to the moon but once or twice in since probably Taken King. At least I've not been back to the moon for maybe like for a story mission for that box. But for the most part, all of that remains fairly fresh to me because I haven't been there in so long. So that's a good point too, Jez. Anything else?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, it all depends on the context of it. Like, I don't mind them reusing an area if there's a reason to be in that area.
Yeah, I could see that. And really, I am excited for new areas. Why don't we move on? Agrios, what you got for us?
Okay, so more things I have to say about the beta and interesting tidbits about the beta. And of course, we have another beta coming up here that we'll talk more about in a moment. We have the PC beta coming yet. Some mild changes to that. We got a new map coming in and stuff. But before I go further, will you guys be trying to participate in the PC beta?
I will be trying. I believe that my computer, the one that I just picked up, has the barest minimum of specs. So at least for Shiggles, I will be trying it out for Bungie. Like I'll give them the list of what my computer is listed at, and then I'll tell them the trials and tribulations of trying to get through that homecoming mission. Also, I would like to play on the PC as well. I know it's rough, and I know that it's. I mean, right now I can't even describe how burnt out I am on Destiny. And especially it's difficult for me to explain with how often I say that I love it, because I really do. Every time I sit down with Destiny, I'm blown away again by how beautiful it is. Even going back to the steps, when I'm trying to get that box and it's the first mission it's the first mission of the game, I go back and I look at it and this is gorgeous. This is beautiful. And so I do want to play on the PC as well. I don't foresee myself playing as much as that I did in the beginning, middle, or end with Destiny 1. I think that I'll definitely be focused on one character, at least until, I don't know, I will have to see how I feel while I'm playing. I can't imagine playing as much as I did. And then again, maybe they have that much more content. Maybe they have that much more stuff to do. Because I feel like part of the reason I was able to play 6 characters was that because the content was, it was fairly sparse, so I was able to go through it with one character, able to go through it with 2 characters, 3 characters, 4 characters. If there's as much content as they're alluding to, if there's as much content as I'm hoping for, even half as much content as I'm hoping for, then I'm less likely to go through with more than one character. I feel like progressing with one character will be enough. I feel like progressing with I could see myself playing 3 characters, but really at the same time, I don't know. I don't know. Jez, will you be trying out the beta on PC?
I'll see if it works. I can't really say I'll be playing it much, but I don't really have a proper mouse setup. but I'll be seeing how well it runs on my PC.
Got it. Sharks, will you be playing on PC?
It depends on this. Lets me buy the system I want. I'm looking into getting a new rig because I'm running one that's 10 years old, and it barely gets by with the stream right now that we're doing. I can't stream on my own. I wanna upgrade my own Twitch stream, and doing that I need a good PC. So I'm looking at potentially getting one before the beta drops so that I can try the beta, just because I want to play Destiny. But at this point I'd say no, but anything can change in the next few weeks. I'm hoping that I can.
Got it.
Well, even if you don't make it work out, you could probably go to like Rent-A-Center and get one for like a real short period of time, just to do the beta.
That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Let's see. Zoran Hill says, wish my PC would function with modern games. Not going to happen though. Still running XP. I tell you what, I'm jealous because XP was awesome. I held on to XP for as long as possible because basically everything that came out after that was inferior. I'm running 7 on one and 10 on the other, and it's just not the same. I miss XP. Also, Zoran Hill says, isn't the point to kind of get back the home you lost at the beginning of the game? Maybe end content to take it back, kind of like the Iron Mountain. And that's Space Iron Mountain to you, Zoran Hill. Yeah, I could definitely see that. But I don't know that I feel like the Cosmodrome is really my home, per se. I definitely feel like there might still be something worth salvaging out of the city if we can oust the Cabal. So
there's plenty of other towers.
There is plenty of other towers. And if you watch one of the things that I did in that beta the most was just deleted characters and played through that homecoming mission again, because I feel like there was a lot to chew on. And if you watch, when the Cabal come in, they smoke that first tower. They smoke it hard, like, but then as they're going into the city, they're not firing missiles down like I expected upon replays. I expected a lot more, just them lighting up the city as well, and I didn't really see that.
They're not military targets. Why waste ammo?
I mean, shock and awe. Like, what are they planning to do with those people?
They're efficient.
Also, I found the speaker's tower while I was playing, and I've been meaning to post it on Twitter. But if you go to like the over by where New Monarchy's person was, if you look over the edge, you can see that gyroscope like has crashed down towards the ground. I'm going to put up a picture, and hopefully a movie of that, because I thought that was an interesting thing. But yeah, definitely plenty to reclaim if we can get them out of the city. I'm very interested in how we're going to get our light back, but that's a whole other topic. Agrios, what you got?
So one interesting thing that was noticed by Guardians in the beta was that the weapons in our weapons in PvP give off distinct glows for the power ammo. Enemy shotguns glow white at the barrel. Grenade launchers glow red at the barrel. Rocket launchers glow orange. Fusion rifles glow blue. Snipers glow red with that trademark kind of plus shape. And people aren't really sure about the linear fusion rifles because no one used them, but some people think it might have been red like sniper. Other people remember having a purple tint to it. So we're not really sure about that. No one can come up with a screenshot of it.
Man, you know what? I think I might have it. I did use that linear sniper, or that linear fusion rifle.
Your enemy needs to be using it.
Oh.
You need to have a screenshot of your enemy using it.
Interesting. Okay. Okay, continue.
So I after playing the beta am still very torn on the new weapon setups. While it is excellent in PvP, I find it concerning in PvE.
In what way?
Well, he's been over this. He wants to make things go kaboom, and he wants to be able to snipe.
Well, yeah, and I actually had the revelation that rather than, it's not that they moved the secondary, the sniper and the shotgun into the heavy ammo slot, it's that we just simply don't have heavy ammo anymore. We have two types of primary ammo and secondary ammo. Because the rocket launchers and grenade launchers currently are not anywhere near the caliber of weapon that they were in Destiny 2, explosive-wise. And I feel like rather than they, move the snipers and shotguns up into that, is that they dumbed down the heavy weapons into the secondary category.
I mean, yes, they did, but I don't feel like they dumbed them down. I feel like they moved them into that power ammo to.
Well, that's what I meant by dumbed down. I meant like the rocket launcher and the grenade launcher. Like the grenade launcher doesn't hit any harder than a shotgun, for instance, is what I'm saying. And I feel like they just eliminated the heavy machine gun rocket launcher of the past. There's just nothing like that anymore in the game, and that the current rocket launcher and grenade launcher are really more the power quality of the secondary weapons that we're used to now.
I see what you're saying. And that does make a bit of sense.
They didn't really make snipers and shotguns more powerful. They just moved them to a different category and made rocket launchers and grenade launchers weaker.
I feel like they will be more powerful in the future. Like I definitely see what you're saying, because I definitely didn't feel like they had changed necessarily. I used a lot of shotgun, and I did use a lot of sniper rifle, and you're right, they did not up those two weapons to where rocket launchers are. You're right.
And my concern is with the way the primaries work is, and this could be completely changed by the new mechanisms of the play of the future of Destiny 2. They could save it potentially somehow in that. But my concerns lies if Destiny continues to play like it had previously, and like it played that way in the Destiny 2 beta, that I'm simply going to find that, the scout rifle is the best rifle, hands down, above any of the other types of weapons for this particular area mission. So I'm going to end up running a primary scout rifle and then some elemental scout rifle. And then that's it. I'm just going to be shooting everything with a scout rifle the whole time I'm playing that level. Like, maybe I get to a place where machine guns are better, and I'll end up flipping to two machine guns. Now, sometimes I'm sure I'll mix it up, and when the content's not particularly hard, I'm sure I'll mix it up. But I have concerns about that.
Okay, so I hear your concerns, and that makes a certain amount of sense. But I feel like from what I've seen and from what I understand from Bungie, it's not. I don't feel like you're going to run into a whole lot of situations where running dual scout rifles will be the thing, because what I saw was that there was definitely a need for a close quarters field weapon, and then there was definitely a need for a longer range weapon. And because there wasn't enough power ammo in the economy to go around, the scout rifle became kind of the de facto sniper rifle. Like there was that one part in the strike where there was those scions across that gorge, and it felt a lot better and it felt a lot easier to take them out with the scout rifle. But at the same time, right on that same line, there was a bunch of heavier Cabal targets that I switched to my machine gun for. So while I definitely see what you're saying, and that definitely is something to consider, I feel like we're going to see much more of a use for at least a hand cannon and a.
See that full auto energy scout. I had no problem taking out targets at close range with that. So I had the higher impact scout on primary, that full auto scout on secondary, and I mean that was the best way I found to take down the strike.
I could definitely see that. I think maybe for me, I just wanted the feel. Like I wanted the feel of something different. I didn't want to run two scout rifles, even though you're right. The scout rifles present in the beta were really fantastic. They're really powerful. I mean, there was that one full auto that had a really high stability, and it felt a little loose coming up and down, but for the most part was powerful and was useful. But I feel like I maybe subconsciously or maybe consciously thought I really love this auto rifle, and so I just went auto rifle, scout rifle. But I definitely could see what you're talking about. Actually, there was a portion of that strike where I decided to go auto rifle, submachine gun, like short range and then like medium range. So I don't know. I see what you're saying, and I'm hoping that
I felt like in PvE there wasn't anything that I could take down with the submachine gun that I couldn't take down with that full auto scout rifle better.
Interesting. There's definitely room for improvement there. Jez, what do you make of this?
Well, I didn't find the scout rifles were actually as powerful as you guys, I guess. So what you sacrifice when you run to one thing is that utility of being able to switch. Like, sure, a scout rifle can deal with things at close range, but a hand cannon is much better at dealing things with close range.
Why let him get that close?
I don't know.
Then things get that close. There's guaranteed. There's tight quarters. Like, you're not gonna sit and switch every time you go into an interior.
You know, I can't even believe that you just said that, Agrios, because that's like something that I would say while we're playing. Like, you are like up in your face guy. You're like running around with a shotgun.
I play with you guys because I can't. Like, I enjoy playing like that, so I play with it. But when I go and play with like randos, I'm the guy who doesn't die and kills them all as they charge toward them.
Right. That is my experience with randos and with you guys. Sharks, what do you make of this? Do you find yourself thinking the same thing? Sniper rifles and shotguns not nearly powerful enough to be put into the power and ammo economy. And what do you think about running two of the same thing? Do you think it's something that is bound to happen, or did you even have this happen during the beta?
Okay, so I do not understand Agrios's beef with the gun thing. But I've stated this week after week. You know, I think the only reason he has a beef with it is because he's been used to it from Destiny 1.
Well, it's not just me. I mean, this is a huge sector of the community.
I'm just using you as the example because we're talking about it because it was brought up from you. Okay. I can understand that it's not as fun because you're not getting to switch stuff. No, I mean, I'm actually I do truly understand it, but I don't see it's a big deal. My biggest issue with anything from the beta is they've dumbed everything down. It seemed too easy. And I'm really, really worried about that because they announced that they're dumbing it down more, and it's like, if it's this easy with these crap guns, these boring guns, you don't need those awesome snipe shots because you're going to be able to walk through and spit on these things and they're going to die.
We were playing normal mode though.
Okay, we were playing a mode where the strike was 10 levels above us, 10 light above us, recommended light. Okay, so if the light is above us and it's that easy and they're still dumbing it down, there's an issue. Okay?
Well, I agree with that. I'm just saying it was normal mode. Maybe, hopefully, the hard mode version is going to be really hard. Because I'm okay with that. Normal mode's like super easy and the hard mode's super hard. I'm okay with that because I don't mind them making a mode that 10-year-olds can. Well, 10-year-olds kick ass actually.
What
that
part
6-year-olds
are
can
you talking
get through.
about dumbing down?
Everything. I mean, it's
well, like for instance, that rotor. They took one of the rotors out because 2 was too tough for people.
Well, see, it was 3, and the problem with the rotors is not that it was hard.
No. I mean, the things that spin around, there's two of them that spin around while you're trying to take out the three rotors. They're taking out one of the two that spin around because they thought that was too tough.
I thought they were taking out two of the turbines.
They're taking out one of the things that spins around and blocks the turbines, and they're making the turbines stand out more on UI.
It's still more of a I guess then that doesn't work either, because then it's just a pacing thing. I thought they were taking out the turbines because it was a pacing thing, because my problem with that one mission is that you're sitting there jumping back and forth and just going around, shoot, and then jump around and shoot. Like, it's slow and it's boring.
You still do that, they're just going to make it painfully obvious what you have to shoot, and taking out one of the things that's spinning above your head that might kill you.
I don't know. I just think that, doing things like that, and then us complaining that the guns aren't really doing it, it just makes me laugh, because it's, I don't know, it's just, like what Remy says, going in there, he said go in and use a short range and a medium. That's actually not true. It's go in there and use a short range and a shorter range gun. Okay, because the auto rifles are pretty short range, and those submachine guns were in your face. But I agree with you.
They're like the new shotguns.
But you can totally do that. Like, I don't see an issue with that. And like what Jess says, yeah, you don't want to run two scouts, because then you are making it boring. Then it's not exciting. I really don't have an issue with the gun setup. It is very different than Destiny 1. But hey, let's go for it. Let's try it.
Okay, so number one, boring guns. What is wrong with you? I loved those guns. I love the names. I love the designs. Are you talking about how easy it was to use them?
I'm not saying they're boring. I said boring with quotes.
Using two scout rifles and not having power ammo. That's what he means about boring gun setup.
Yeah, because, Agrios is saying, not just Agrios, these other people in the community, it's not fun because I don't get to rip out my sniper, and I don't get to rip out my fusion rifle and my heavy machine gun, I've got to use those boring primaries. Okay, I don't think they're boring. I thought it was perfectly fine. I like it.
Well, I thought you were agree in the community of is if it's not broke, don't fix it. This was something we liked in Destiny 1, and now you've taken it away for us just to make PvP a little better. Why don't you just make
what?
Different?
Okay, so you say that. I didn't like it. I didn't like that we would go into a raid, okay, and we would have, you would use your sniper and your heavy. You had to have that. I think it would have been a lot cooler to make it like what they're going to do now. It's like, okay, you got people that, if you're badass at sniping, you're going to be sniping, and if you are that one that it can get that rocket off right at the right time, and then you're the guy that doesn't need it because you're going to go and do whatever else, you go for it. I think it is a little bit more exciting not having all those options instantly right in front of your face, because it's just, then you feel overpowered.
Okay, so after the beta, I went and played some strikes or some nightfalls, and during that nightfall, I don't know what it is, but I'm very much just a primary user. Like, I enjoy the feel of a primary weapon. I get the most ammo out of it. It's my go-to because that's what I have the most of. And so while I'm playing, I really enjoyed having the small, medium, and large attacks. Like, here is my primary weapon, and I'm taking out, like, foot soldiers. And then as I turn around, I saw a Minotaur, and I thought, oh crap, I need to switch to my fusion rifle. Switch to my fusion rifle, put 2 shots into it, and then I switched back to my primary to go back to take out foot soldiers. And it felt good, and it felt natural, and I feel like that Bungie needs to do something to promote that same style of play. Like there needs to be a reason to like, oh, I'm on my auto rifle, and now I'm switching to my auto rifle because they don't have any power ammo. I really feel like Bungie did themselves a disservice by having everybody in the community talk about power ammo like this. It was such a huge deal that it was difficult to see what they were trying to do with this dual primary deal. And before we played the demo, or before we played the demo beta, I was totally on board with this idea. Like, the idea made a ton of sense to me. And as I played it, it did feel good. I did enjoy not having to choose between hand cannon and auto rifle, or submachine gun and an auto rifle. I really did enjoy that. But because there was such little time for me to play with any of these other more powerful weapons, that is what stuck into my mind. Like, they wasted their opportunity of having some really good beta feedback by not having power ammo show up at least twice as often as it did.
Do you mean
at least twice as often?
Do you mean in PvE or do you mean in PvP?
I mean in PvE. In PvP, okay. I felt like it had a pretty nice balance to it. Like, I really like the idea that only one person picks it up at a time. And it's interesting. I don't know how they're going to communicate this to the player because when I was running with my friend Tanner, we were playing some PvP, and we both ran to the heavy ammo, and I picked it up, and he's like, oh, man, I didn't even get any, what's that all about? Like, there's a bug right there. We need to tell him. I was like, oh, no, only the person who picks it up gets it. And he's like, well, that sucks.
Yeah, I actually, okay, so, again, everybody knows that I listen to a lot of podcasts, and something that was said on DCP really made me laugh, because they were talking about exactly what you're saying. Tanner was saying, that, oh, you guys were both trying to get it, and one person didn't. And I think it was Briar Rabbit that said, oh, well, what he would do is he would shoulder charge people, because then they wouldn't get it, because you just bump them, they can't get it, they don't realize it, and then you start stealing it. I actually had the exact opposite of that. I felt that I was getting so much power ammo that it felt a lot like Destiny 1 as far as going around and having that OP ammo. And I don't know, it obviously it's different for each person, but it's just really interesting hearing the different sides to that.
That exact same reasoning, Sharks, is why I said I feel like they just took away heavy ammo altogether, and that power ammo is really secondary ammo. It's the right frequency for secondary ammo. And the weapons are about the same caliber as secondary weapons always were. The fusions, although excellent and probably the best of the power weapons in PvP right now, aren't that much better than a fusion is in Destiny 1 right now.
The real question is, did they have to be better? They were already one-hit kill weapons.
Yeah. Oh, no, I don't think that they needed to be better, but I'm just saying that they eliminated the heavy ammo slot and kept secondaries and created a new grenade launcher secondary and downgraded rocket launchers to secondary.
Now, why do you think rocket launchers feel downgraded?
Well, first off, the fact that you only get one rocket for them. You can only reduce the power of a rocket launcher so much in PvP.
I feel like
in
the
PvE,
one rocket thing is more
I didn't
to
feel
do
like they
with
were waxing
ammo.
things as well. What was that, Jess?
The one rocket thing's more to do with ammo than the actual weapon.
I agree, but I mean, there were ways to get more than one rocket in Destiny 1, thus making, the rockets viable. I feel like that's how they reduced the power of the rockets, is for it being a secondary weapon, is by making the ammo count so ridiculously low that, you're just going to use all of your ammo at once
to
be able to deliver that shot.
The thing that we have to realize, and, we've all talked about this before, is that this is a really, really old build, and they have changed things. I mean, if we were just going off of the beta, we know that fusion rifles are the only go-to weapon as far as power ammo goes. It was a guaranteed kill, and it was from a long ways away. especially on the map on the two maps that we were playing. I mean, the one map you could maybe get away with longer lines of sight at times, but for the most part, it's right up on top of you fighting. So, it was fusion rifle or you're stupid, because if you didn't have a fusion rifle and somebody came in there with a fusion rifle, they're going to kick your ass.
And not just PvP. PvE is the same scenario.
Yeah, no, well, okay, but no, you're right. I mean, we already know that they're adjusting. They're adjusting, and they already have adjusted weapon damage. And again, it goes to drop rates of heavy and stuff in PvE. And I mean, the last podcast, Remy and I both agreed that grenade launchers were badass crap shit garbage. Shoot it at the boss and goes between his legs and goes off into the milk way off into the. I'm gonna have to pull that video up and put it online because it was just so ridiculous. But yeah, I mean,
the core.
What's that?
Aim for the core.
Yeah.
That we did aim for the core, and then it arced down.
Yeah,
but okay. It's
the only
you gotta learn how to use them, and you shoot a little bit ahead, a little bit above, and then it falls
no, you're
down.
right. No, you're right. You do have to learn how to use them. I mean, well, that's a totally different subject.
The only real use I found for
did
grenade
not have
launchers was in the new
issues.
PvP mode. They defend the bomb when it's ticking down, because you can just throw that area damage in there and hit everybody and stop them from disarming your bomb.
With
what?
The grenade launcher. That was the main use I found for it, was to keep people injured so they couldn't disarm your bomb.
Yeah.
There was a grenade launcher in Halo, and I didn't use it there either. So every now and then I will come across something that bothers me, and then I feel like I have to solve. And I feel like after I played that strike where I had primary, I had secondary, and then it didn't matter so much that heavy wasn't coming as fast as possible, because I still had a way to affect the situation around me in a more massive way than just a primary weapon. And so I'm thinking what they do is this: they bring back secondary weapons. So tapping once sends you between the two primaries. Double tapping it quickly sends you to your secondary, and then holding it down sends you to your heavy. I mean, I know they're not going to do this. They're trudging down this path, and as fast as they can. But that's my solution to it. Like if I had come across this and I was working at Bungie, that is what I would say. Because as much as fusion rifles, yes, are a one-hit kill weapon in PvP, they're not in PvE. Like they were a way of addressing a heavily armored combatant. And I feel again a wasted opportunity on Bungie's part to make the community look at something else other than where is the power ammo. Because for reals, this is just what I keep coming back to, and I understand they're going to tweak this, but when I think back to my experiences, and when I think back what I have to talk about right now, it's that the two primaries, they didn't feel satisfying. I didn't feel powerful. I do love it. I do love the two primaries. I love not having to choose. Not having to choose between scout rifle and auto rifle is fantastic, because for the most part, I just pick scout rifle every time. Scout rifle is so useful, and I am a hang back kind of guy and mop up everything and keep the people out front safe. But because I was able to also have an auto rifle or whatever, I could also move in forward for the kill. Like I understand what you're saying, Agrios. You were still able to, use both scout rifles, but I feel like because I had the option of using two different weapons, I found myself moving forward more often. I found myself engaging the enemy a lot closer because I had those options quickly and available. But seriously, I don't know. I think we should move on. Anybody else got anything on this, or we're moving on? Hit it.
So, for some new information coming in on the PvE side of things, we had some IGN first reveals, some interesting points from the reveals include they have not only reimagined old public events, but a huge number of new types, more than they have had in Destiny before. The heroic versions, there are heroic versions of public events, I should say. You can trigger optional objectives or more enemies or new bosses. They will have bonus rewards when you do this. There are no load screens for adventures. Complete one, continue with patrol, or jump right into another. They did demonstrate how to actually get into the Lost Sector. I couldn't tell you how, though, because I didn't actually watch the video. I've only listened to parts of it and read show notes, so I left that unspoiled for me.
Excellent.
The high-value target is departing message came up during the reveal, though, confirming that particular public event would be back. The Glimmer Extraction public event is returning. There are world quests that open up after you complete the main campaign. They contain multi-part stories about a destination, compared to the bite-sized stories in adventures. You unlock more landing zones as you complete some of the content. So that's interesting that you have your choice of different landing zones in these patrol areas now.
Hopefully it matters.
What do you mean?
Well, because we still have sparrows, right? Hopefully it matters. Like, I could really get to anywhere in the Cosmodrome very quickly, anywhere, in the Plaguelands really quickly. I'm hoping that it's like, oh, well, thank goodness we have this patrol zone to go to over here, because I don't want to spend 5 minutes on my sparrow going from one side of the map to the other.
Okay, so according to Destin and Fran, who were the ones that went up to Bungie and did it, they said they didn't actually ever get on their sparrows and go to the next section, but they were so far away from each other just in the map areas that they were pretty sure that going via these landing spots is going to save a lot of time if you end up wanting to do that to get to a spot where a friend's at or whatever else. They said it's just the areas, the maps that they were in, it was really, really big, and they would lose each other there. So
excellent. That sounds excellent.
There is a new Ether Harvest public event, and they talked about flashpoints, weekly patrol destination events, and they listed prestigious gear, like in quotes, was listed as a reward. Cade will offer treasure maps each week for the featured destination, and there will be secret world bosses unlocked when the destination is a flashpoint. They can be triggered by a quick or heroic completion of a public event.
Very cool.
We also had a PvP reveal, a new game type called Survival. It's considered a competitive playlist. One of the maps, Altar of Flame, takes place in Mercury. Each team starts with and shares a pool of 8 lives per round. You have automatic respawn. You swap sides each round. There'll be 1 power ammo will spawn in a central neutral position. There'll be 3 minutes per round. A capture point spawns in the middle by the power ammo when sudden death starts. The first team to 3 wins is the winner. And it will launch on release day with the game. So this is very much, a new Trials of Osiris type game mode. More or less sounds like the new version of what Trials of Osiris elimination, the elimination game mode is what I'm looking for there. What do you guys think of this game mode? Is it good, bad, meh? Sharks?
Okay, so I think it's interesting that they are making these two different quote unquote distinct playlists, but I kind of don't really understand what the difference is between competitive and non-competitive.
I'll tell you right now.
Limited number of lives.
It's just okay. That might be one of them too. But as far as I understand it, it's the sort of game that you're playing. So, not competitive. You're playing more relaxed. Competitive. You're playing. You're right. Probably the amount of revives, and probably like the elimination mode. I think the elimination mode was the competitive play. So you could either do the objective, or if you just wiped the team outright. That's the difference.
Well, competitive it's a defined black or white. Either you beat them and you won or not. Whereas control, like for instance, it's a points game.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right.
You know what I mean? One that determines whether you just eliminate the other team, whether you beat them outright at the objective or not. And whereas the other one is a point battle.
Okay. All right. So that explains that. All right. So
and unlimited respawns, I think too. But.
So what I've seen on this new playlist, it seems all right. I mean, basically, what it seems like is trials with revives.
Trials has.
Well, no, trials without revives, but with respawns.
Well, whatever. Revives, respawns, automatic respawns.
I think the difference is you're not as easily steamrolled by one person dying, especially where there's 4 people. But if someone dies in trials right now and their body's out in nowhere, you have to go revive them, right? If it's a respawn, it happens automatically. You don't have to get in danger.
Yeah,
your team's not about to get steamrolled, right?
I see what you're saying, okay, but I kind of feel, and I may say that this is different when I actually play it, but I kind of feel that if you get somebody in there that's good, they're still going to steamroll you, I think. It's going to take longer because they're going to have to kill you more times, but I think that a really good PvP player can go in there and still wipe the floor with that team really fast.
Well, I'm not talking about good. I'm saying if two teams are equally matched, right? Like what everyone wants when they go into a competitive playlist.
Right.
And when one person's down, you have to either back off and lose that respawn, and then deal with 3v2, or potentially just die because
you're
you
saying
can't go get the body.
Right, you're saying because this is an automatic respawn, you get those respawns so many times. You're not going to have to put yourself into the fire of the other team and potentially.
It's still going to be the same guy using up all your respawns, so you can yell at him.
That's what you're saying. Yeah, I'm very keen to try it for sure. I mean, so far I've really liked both Control and Countdown. I really liked Countdown. In fact, everybody that was jumping in my streams were saying that I was addicted to Countdown. So because it was fun. So it's the best competitive play I've played in any kind of Destiny in a long time, and part of that is because of how crap the PvP is in Destiny 1 because of issues. So yeah, no, it looks cool.
Okay, so Jelly says comp equals sweaty, quick play is pub stomping, and unless I'm mistaken, both of these are going to have some kind of rank to them. Like both of these are some kind of skill-based matchmaking, because it doesn't make sense. So ranked, you go into ranked, and then you are faced up against people who are better than you, and they're trying to go hard, and they're just killing everybody outright. Or you go into this more casual playlist, and then the people who are lower on the rank, they get squashed even more. It doesn't make sense. And if I'm understanding this correctly, and I do think that I am, I believe that it's basically going to come down to basically exactly what Jez was saying. This objective it's harder to reach. It's more of a competitive game in the nature of the game itself, not in the people that you're going to be facing, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for either of them to put you out of your skill level. Like when I hear really good players talk about, oh, I wish I could just go in and enjoy stomping some newbies, that sucks for the newbies. Like, you're going to weed out all of the people who might be interested in playing if the only thing that happens to them is they go in and they get killed. But especially if they choose this one that's not, here's competitive. In my mind, competitive means you have to try harder. And then here's this quick play. You go into quick play and you're more likely to run into somebody higher than your skill level. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for you to...
The terminology they use is not, I want to go kill some noobs or stomp some pubs, even though that doesn't make sense phonetically. But it's, I don't want to have to sweat.
Totally.
And it's like, you're playing at whatever skill level. If you lose and you get mad at that, that's not something to do with the game mode and skill-based matchmaking. It's to do with your inability to turn off from that I need to win.
I want to record that, and I'm going to tell that to every damn person I ever hear complain about this. Okay? You know, I've made comments in the past, get good, all this different stuff. What it comes down to is people just need to stop complaining about going in and being put up against people that are the same skill or better than you. Okay? It's a game mode. It's a sweaty. It's going to be sweaty whether it's a comp mode or a non-comp mode, because they really should be putting you with people that are comparable to you.
Absolutely.
Always should be this case. You should never. I never want to be put into a match where I look at the people and I kill them. Okay, that's ridiculous. I also do not want to be put into a match where I can't even move and I'm dead. Okay, because that's ridiculous too. I should be playing against people that are very similar in skill, and I should sweat. Okay, that's what it is. If I don't want to sweat, I go into that non-competitive mode and just sit back and chill. But you know what? Non-competitive still can be sweaty if you make it sweaty. Okay, that's all it comes down to. So, you know, get over it. Play against people that are the same skill or better than you, and don't go in there and complain that you're not playing against people that are babies. Yeah,
that's what I'm hearing. That's what I hear when I hear these really good players in the community talk about they're tired of sweating. You know, they don't want to play games where they're sweating all the time. That means to me, that sounds like to me, they're complaining that they're not just easily beating their opponents.
Yep.
And that's stupid. I think that's stupid. If you're a really good player, you're going to get put up against other people who are really good players. That's just the way it needs to be. Because otherwise you're just taking 50% of the 50% of the people who are playing, the bottom 50%, they're just not going to come back. You know, I know that feeling. I know the feeling of, man, I just got killed badly over and over and over, and it was nothing to them. It was nothing to the person who just killed me over and over and over. But to me, that ruined my whole day, ruined my whole night. I'm not going to play that anymore. And then so you're making the pool you're making the pool smaller and smaller for every one person who goes through and easily kills just everyone. Like, you know what? I'm always I'm always surprised when I'm at the top of the leaderboard, and I'm always surprised when I'm at the top of both leaderboards, because I don't know how I got put into that match, because I'm used to playing against much better players than that. So it's not really that fun. It's not really that fun to just walk over people. Nope. Now, I'm not usually on top of the leaderboards. I'm usually like middle to low, but I feel like it. PvP. The essence of PvP is that you are entering the deep end of the pool. Like this isn't PvE. This isn't like learning the patterns of an AI enemy. Like I know if I shoot this guy, it's going to throw up this shield. Like this is an actual living person on the other end, and it makes sense for me to get put up against other living people who are in my same skill range. That's what PvP is. All of these people who go to the lighthouse regularly, I don't understand that. I'm happy for them. I'm proud of them. Like good job. You have decided today you're going to the lighthouse, and then you beat all of these people flawless. You go to the lighthouse. That's excellent. You now need to play other people who kick ass just like you. It only makes sense. Yeah. And if I'm understanding the way they're describing it correctly, this is basically the essence of all of it. All of Destiny is going to be like this. There's not going to be an easy mode. Oh, I just want to come home from work, and I just want to not have to try and kill these people. I just want them to fall down in front of me. I just want to look at them and they die. That sucks. I'm glad that they're not going to make it that way, because those people who just all fell down at your feet, they're not coming back. Yep. They're not going to want to play this. Now, if and it makes so much sense for it to be an incremental upward movement. I beat somebody right now who's close to in skill as me. I just got a little bit better. I want to claw my way up that. I want to make it to the top of my skill bracket. I think that would be really cool. I don't know. Everybody talk about it. Who wants to talk about it? Jez, you got something to say? Agrios, you got something to say?
I said my thing.
Agrios, what do you make of all this?
I like skill-based matchmaking.
I like skill-based matchmaking too.
Except for when he joins my games, then he complains.
I like that too.
Okay, well, I don't necessarily like going into that higher bracket that Sharks is in, but I don't feel like I'm drowning. So.
I've been doing all right lately. In fact, I've been doing better at Destiny 2 PvP than I was at Destiny 1 PvP.
He is. I'm really impressed. Agrios and I might go to the lighthouse together.
Yeah, I was above Sharks quite a few times as we played the Destiny 2 beta, which is extremely unusual. And I, in like 3.0 KDs, was nothing strange to me for the Destiny 2 beta, and that's not something commonplace for Destiny 1.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, moving on. We got
So Destiny promotion. Well, what?
23 minutes.
Destiny promotions. They had another pre-order bonus today that if you were lucky enough to go back to the store and get, they had the Destiny fidget spinner. I'm sure someone was inspired by the fact that the tricorn looks just like a fidget spinner. As you can see, because of the design on the spinner itself, it's got the tricorn all set up.
Most of it, at least.
Is there metal on that?
The whole thing is metal. It's really heavy. I got one too.
It is. Are
Mine's
you sure the whole thing's metal? I think just the rings are metal and this outer part's plastic. Just a good heavy duty plastic. But these are really heavy duty metal. The white.
Well, they have to be. I was just checking to see if it was an actual fidget spinner or something that is just a piece of plastic with ball bearings.
No,
it's an actual fidget spinner. It's pretty high quality, really heavy duty.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I got one as well.
Pretty excited about mine.
I said it's kind of loud.
Huh? Moving on.
The good ones are quiet.
There's also another promotion that we caught wind of, is the new Rockstar Destiny 2 promotion. The cans are already on store shelves in some places. Rumor has it that some Smiths in California have them on the shelf, as well as several stores in Wisconsin have them on the shelf. There's a page set up on the Reddit to track when they become available in the different areas of the country. We know when we know certain stores in certain areas are going to get them because employees work there already. It appears that they're going to be carried by Speedways, Kroger's, Myers, Walmarts, 7-Elevens, and in the UK, the Spar shops, and Asda and Sainsbury's. So in Wisconsin, they're in the Quick Trips and BP Mobiles. So they're going to be all over the place, it seems like. But if you want to find out when they're in your area or how close they're to the area, you can check on the subreddit. They're keeping a list there. The actual fine print on the cans reads, redeeming in-game items requires Destiny 2 game and PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live Gold subscription. Blah, 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 blah. In-game gear subject to 3 released items per week, 24 total items for Origin, Punched, and Zero Carb codes, and 1 additional released item per week, 8 total items for additional Zero Carb codes. In-game code redeem available 9/1/2017 to 3/1/2018.
Okay.
The website is not actually live yet, but there is a support website on Rockstar. There's just not information located within yet.
Okay, so the way I feel about this is sort of the same way I feel about these emblems. Like, I actually wanted to get more things done than Bungie listed, because I kind of feel like if they're willing to bring forward these 7 emblems or whatever it is, then why not bring in another one? So I made sure to get on my Age of Triumph booklet. I made sure to get a couple of those extra ones done, like the like Respected by All, I think it was, or Beloved by All, where you got to rank 25 on each of those, on each of the factions, and rank 5 on Iron Banner. I made sure to hit that node, because they could just say, oh, by the way, additionally, here are some other ones that we didn't tell you were coming over, but now they are. So on the ones that I could make it, I could bring them over. But the way I feel about these codes with this Rockstar, I want to have them. And it's not impossible to think that I will purchase some Rockstar in order to get these, but I never really used any of the special emblems I got from like playing Halo or playing all of the releases that Bungie had, or playing in the beta or playing on that special day in the beta. Like, I never really used those. Like the emblems that they gave out throughout the rest of the game were equal to or greater than the emblems that I got from doing special things. So I feel like this is going to be the same thing with these weapons. Sure, I can buy some Rockstar, and sure, I will get some additional gear, but I feel like, for the most part, there's going to be equal to or better stuff just given out for free while playing the game, so it doesn't drive me as much as it did in Year 1 Destiny. In Year 1 Destiny, I was rabid. And actually, before they handed over Halo, I made sure to get everything done. Like, I made sure to play every game. What's that?
This says items.
Totally.
Not gear, necessarily.
Well, totally, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I can't imagine that it's going to be anything that's necessarily more. You know what would bother me the most is if it was if these were some kind of like, oh, here's an additional banner emblem that you could use for your clan banner. That would bother me more than a piece of armor or a weapon. Like,
we've got an emblem with like a star on it because it's Rockstar,
right? Or like,
you can get boosters to level up quicker.
What if it's like Queen's Wrath level normal armor with a big gold star on it?
I mean, that would be crazy, right? That would be a level of in-game advertising that would be nuts. I did want to mention real quick before I pass this off to you guys. Zion Hill says about the matchmaking, basically just match teams of balanced people, like 2 Mr. Awesome and 2 newbies, and match them with similar balance. That is always the way I thought teams should be placed. I run across. Here's my team of 6 randoms. Here's the other team of 6 randoms. I feel like on my team, I have all of the newbies, and on the other side is all of the Mr. Awesome. And I never understood why there wasn't more of a balanced role. Here's one person who has 1 million snipes. Here's another person on the other team that has 1 million snipes. These 2 people, you basically only use auto rifles. These 2 people use auto rifles. I never knew why it didn't roll out like that. Why the teams weren't more balanced. I feel like they threw in a certain amount of people into this queue and then just randomly, here's just, here's all the really good people on one team. I don't understand that. So
you know what? It's just, I don't mean to go back to this real quick, but, I'm not doing it on purpose, but I do hope that Bungie fixes one huge issue with PvP. And that's when people leave the competitive playlist, that they actually put players, replace players.
Oh, yeah, that was actually a problem I had all the time. Destiny 1, Destiny 2 beta, people drop out, I don't get a replacement, so here's my 4 people getting just completely squashed by the other 6 people. Doesn't make sense. Yeah. And you know what? It makes it even worse with 4v4 because 5 versus 6 is something that you can still handle. But 3 versus 4, we're talking about a much greater percentage there. And that's troubling, I think.
So here's something that I think is interesting and I would support. I think that the casual quick play list should replace people that leave the match as quickly as possible, and I think the competitive match playlist should not replace anybody ever.
Yeah, but that's what it is. That's exactly what it was.
I agree with that.
Why?
It's competitive. Take a team in.
Yeah, except for that it's match made. So if
I
it's
want to be joining competitive matches and getting stuck in matches halfway through.
You know what? I could get along with that, Agrios.
It's competitive. Take a team in. If you don't want to risk losing team members and you don't have a whole team, play quick play.
Except for that quick play sucks and competitive is awesome.
Good team. Good team. Be good, Sharks.
All right.
Hey, I was carrying my one other person in matches. I'll show you the videos. Okay, that's not the point. I don't want to have to do that, and I also don't want to have to pub stomp when there's only one person left and there's 4 on my team because it's ridiculous. Okay, yeah, I totally disagree with you, but okay, that's all I'll say on that.
All right, so where do you fall on this Rockstar engrams? Do you think it's going to be armor and weapons, Sharks, or do you think it's going to be items like maybe fusion rifle, speed up, bonus XP?
Okay, so I believe that it will be armor and weapons. It will be probably like it was for the drops that you get now, like in the boxes where it's level 3 or whatever the hell it is, and then you have to infuse it to actually make it viable to use. I think that 24 you said, right, Agrios?
32 total.
32. Okay,
there's 24 regular ones. It's worded really weirdly, but it seems like there's 24 regular pieces of gear, 3 released items per week, and then 1 additional released item per week, but only for 0 carb codes.
Okay, so a lot. Let's just say a lot. Okay, a lot of pieces of armor. That's a lot of rock stars.
That is a lot of rock stars.
That's a hell of a lot. I hope, because if I understand right, and I mean, even Jelly said this, and I heard this earlier on.
It's still over 6 months.
It doesn't say that you only get 1 item per code. It just says 3 released items per week. Maybe you put in a code and you get this week's 3 released items.
Yeah, or maybe you put in a code and it's RNG. Okay, so this is my problem.
Possibly.
That's my problem as well.
If it's RNG, because you're getting engrams. I've heard that multiple times now.
From who? From where is the source on this?
They said it on DCP earlier, and I think that's probably where Jelly is quoting it from, and I'm not sure where they got that from.
I have not seen that anywhere.
But supposedly it's engrams, and if it's engrams, that means it's RNG. And if it's RNG,
I've seen its engrams.
The actual wording on the can says items. And I think if it were going to be armor and stuff,
Remy says he's seen it. Where did you see it?
I don't remember, but the advertisement that I saw showed a purple engram and a blue engram, and I don't know. I can't remember whether it was a green engram or a yellow engram, but it was definitely engrams.
I've only seen a picture of the can in this wording.
Well, so I've not seen any advertisements. All I know is that's going to make it really sucky. I think it's sucky already as it is, having to buy that many rock stars. I stopped drinking energy drinks, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm probably going to have to buy some. And shout out to CXXXXIII. He's joined our chat tonight. I got to go to the bathroom.
So I don't know. I feel like because it would take so many rock stars to get the stuff that I want. If it is RNG, which is what I feel like it is. I don't remember where I saw it, but I definitely saw engrams associated with this. If I find the information, I'll send it to you, Agrios. What do you think about this, Jez? What do you make of the idea that we could be having guns or armor behind a code that is on a can of Rockstar? I mean, are you interested in buying any of it? Because for me, I would definitely buy one or two, but because I don't know that I'm even going to get what I want, why even buy one or two if I wasn't going to drink the Rockstar anyways? What you got?
So my biggest problem is that's what I drink anyways.
Oh, wow.
So I will probably have it anyways, but at the same time, I can see people's hang-ups. Why isn't it on water? Because you're advertising a game, you're not selling a drink to a game group. That's the problem. You're trying to get people that already drink Rockstar to buy Destiny, not the other way around. I don't mind it because it's just going to be whatever. It's probably going to be like stupid, like weapons that you can get, like just a reskin of a weapon you can get normally.
Right, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that it is something inconsequential, or, like I was saying earlier with the emblems, something that is inconsequential. Agrios, what do you think about this? Do you drink rock stars anyways? Would you purchase some in order to get gear? And what if it was RNG? I know that we've had this conversation many times before, and you are not at all interested in RNG, especially paying for the privilege of having RNG. If that's the case, what is your plan? What do you think about this?
Well, it all depends on what the rewards are. Everybody seems to think. Well, I'm looking into this engram thing because I'm curious about how that works. I need to find out more information because I was more under the impression that we were going to get more items, like because it says items on the can there, and I saw the last Red Bull thing didn't provide any actual gear or anything like that. It just gave you a variety of boosters or whatever.
No, wait, yes it did. Got a Sparrow.
It gave you a quest.
Got a Sparrow.
You unlocked the Sparrow in there, and everybody eventually got to unlock the Sparrow. But yeah, you're right. That.
I wouldn't say the Sparrow is gear because it only takes you from one place to another faster.
I would agree with that too. Like that's why I wasn't calling it gear. I considered that I considered the Red Bull codes unlocked a in-game quest that you got normal engrams from too, but that doesn't mean you got them from the Red Bull code. Like when you fought, you killed somebody, a blue engram fell on the ground. Doesn't mean you got it from the Red Bull code. You
the engram, the normal codes were they were actually like one, you unlock the quest, so it gives you the stuff, or unlock the mission that gives you the stuff. But it was mostly for the experience boost or whatever it was.
Right. And so if it's just going to be like experience boosters, well, sure, maybe I'll try to get 3 codes for myself just to have that to help get ready for the raid or something like that or whatnot. But I mean, I definitely won't be spending a bunch of money to get a bunch of codes. I don't drink any energy drinks, so I would only be getting the codes from my friends. And the only drinks I would be buying would be getting them to buy Rockstar for me instead of Red Bull and to give me the code off of it.
I don't know. I don't
Just
know.
find someone that's buying 500 of them anyways and get them to send half your codes.
If we only knew someone like that, Jez. If we only knew someone like that.
I'm sure they'll be all around. One trick that I find with energy drinks, I don't really care for, like, the energy drink concentrated. So I'll take Rockstar Fruit Punch and I'll mix it with Sprite. Or I'll take the lemonade one and I'll mix it with Orange Pop. Like, so it's diluted a bit, but you still... That way you also don't have to worry about, oh, I drank this giant energy drink and I need to drink it, energy drink it.
Right.
I actually barely drink any caffeine, so like I know it when I drink one of them.
Also, whoever says that coffee is better for you, I hate you because you're really bad at knowing what caffeine levels are in things.
Okay. Moving on.
So there was a Activision earnings call earlier today. And they mentioned Destiny briefly. It was said, Activision and its partners at Bungie expect to release Destiny 2 on September 6, 2017 for consoles and October 24, 2017 for PC. The Destiny 2 console beta had more total players than the 2014 Destiny beta. The Destiny 2 pre-orders are now above the first Destiny. Activision expects to release Call of Duty, blah, blah, blah. So, that's, it was in the same paragraph. That's all they really had to say about Destiny, but it is comforting to know, based on third-party market figures about 6 weeks ago, it appeared that the Destiny pre-orders were nearly double what they are for Destiny 2, for Destiny 1. But according to this, that's not the case. Now, I am slightly curious. They don't actually give specific numbers or anything here. So, don't forget, this is the people who make it telling the people who are giving them money and they want to give more money how well things are going. So, I'm curious about the phrasing here because there's a number of ways this could be distorted. They could be just comparing the pre-order numbers for just PS4. And if you do that, that would explain a lot, because part of the reason Destiny 1, according to the third-party figures a while ago, had so many more pre-orders was because you were adding up PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and they had a large number for both. But now, you just have the number for PS4. So I'm curious exactly what they're referencing in this statement. Are they just comparing PS4 pre-orders? Because if they are, I think that's a slightly skewed picture.
Yeah, I could see that. You know what, though? I'm not concerned. Even when they said that Destiny 1 had more pre-orders, that was taking into account every pre-order up until the day before the game dropped. You know, we're still a month and 3 days away. In that time, there's going to be a push of marketing. In that time, there's going to be, there's plenty of time for there to be a huge uptick in pre-orders.
Actually, that old numbers was from a snapshot taken of Destiny pre-orders at exactly 12 weeks before launch for both games.
Oh, well, hell.
Yeah, that was a snapshot taken at 12 weeks before Destiny 1 launch and a snapshot taken at 12 weeks before Destiny 2 launch.
Interesting.
But it was a third-party service, and they can be unreliable to a degree. But like I said, I really wish in this Activision call they would have given more qualifications, as in the total number of pre-orders for all versions of Destiny 2 exceed the total number of pre-orders for all versions of Destiny 1. You know, that would have made it crystal clear.
Yeah.
Exactly what was going on.
I see what you're saying.
So the next thing we have coming up is, we mentioned this before, the Destiny 2 beta on PC. It's going to be early access starts August 28th. The open beta starts August 29th. And the beta ends August 31st. They mentioned what would be in the new version of the beta, and there's only one minor change. They'll have the Homecoming story mission, the Inverted Spire Strike, the Countdown in Midtown map, and this time they're going to get to play Control on the new Javelin 4 map, which we know very little about. The PC beta the PC beta came out, the news with the PC beta came out last week along with the system requirements, and the recommended specs include the Intel Core i5 or the Ryzen R5 from AMD CPU. The GPU, they recommend the GeForce GTX 970 or the AMD Radeon R9 390 and 8 gigabytes of RAM. The minimum specs were actually lower than many people expected them to be, only requiring an Intel Core i3 3250, an AMD FX 4350 for the CPU. The GPU only requires a GeForce GTX 660 at 2 gigabytes or an AMD Radeon HD 7850 at 2 gigabytes and only 6 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah, so all I need in order to participate is a graphics card. I'm using mine's running off, I guess, the motherboard right now. I thought it had its own graphics card, and if it doesn't, I'm gonna send it back. But I've got an i5 3470 right now, so that's above the minimum by at least enough to check it out. So
it appears my laptop might just run it. My one concern is that the built-in video card that's built into the CPU doesn't match up to the amount of video RAM that's in the minimum spec video cards.
Interesting.
That's my main concern. That's the only thing I feel like I'm lacking enough in that might stop my laptop from running it. Now, when I say running it, I just mean, running it. Probably, 720p 30 frames per second is what we're looking like here. But I'll still get to play the beta at least.
Right, I'm in the same boat. And I mean, I went and pre-ordered for that fidget spinner, and that's when I got my code for the PC beta. So, all right, so we are rapidly approaching out of time, and by that I mean we're at least 1 minute past. What else you got, Agrios, before we have to go?
They do mention that some of your streaming software and whatnot may not work with the PC edition, and that they are working on further workarounds with that. They do have a specific article detailing it. Many of the popular streaming apps, overlay type things, appear to cause conflict with the security features, preventing people from tampering with Destiny 2 on the PC. So hopefully they get that ironed out for the streamers, because as they recognize that a lot of those tools are used, heavily by people who are a big part of the community.
Definitely.
So of course they don't want that to be a roadblock. It was also announced that there is a exotic coming with your pre-order now. It's called the Coldheart exotic. It's the first of a rifle, first type of its rifle in Destiny. They call it a tracer rifle. It fires a steady beam at your enemy, and it looks pretty interesting. What do you guys think about this? Them giving out the exotic with the pre-order, it becoming available to everybody on December 5th, or after December 5th if you don't get it with the pre-order. How do you guys feel about this stuff?
People were mad because that's the only way you can get it until December, but in my mind, it's basically, it's actually kind of worse than a auto rifle with spinning up, because spinning up increases the damage as you go, whereas this one it increases the damage as you laze the target.
Oh, interesting.
So it's a little bit like a spinning up auto rifle, but worse in the way that it's dealing damage, but it still might be higher damage overall.
I was just saying, if it spins up a lot faster though because of that's a big thing.
Well, then you can just have your spinning up always going if you're a Titan. Fuck it, Titans. But the other thing that I want to bring up, because we'll never talk about it, I noticed in my email the image of Coldheart is a different color. It's like black with gray tubes with a little bit of purple compared to the all purple that we've seen.
Do you think that could be just from lighting effects? Because I saw that in the email too.
I think that's just another shader on it.
It could be. I was torn about it. I was trying to determine that too.
I like that they keep sweetening the pot. I like that they keep adding things. If you're already pre-ordered, here's just another thing that you're going to get. When I heard that, I thought that was really cool. I'm already pre-ordered. I've been pre-ordered since as far back as you can be pre-ordered. And finding out now that there's just more stuff for me, I think it's great. Even if I don't ever use it. Especially if I don't even use it. Because then I know that I didn't want it. The things that bother me are the things that are out of my reach that I don't know that I don't want. Sharks, what do you think?
I'm actually really bummed that... Well, I'm bummed for two reasons. One, I'm bummed because it's another exotic that they could have done something with, which they still, I guess, technically could. It could be a mission that's opened up to get it. But it's probably not. The other reason I'm bummed is if you're going to do something so crazy as this gun, that shouldn't be the one that you give to everybody. It should be some just boring gun. Not this one-of-a-kind, we've never done it before, crazy-ass gun. Oh, let's give that one to everybody that pre-ordered. It loses its mystique, I think.
Well, we'll see. I still want to use Sweet Business and also Sunshot. Sunshot was fantastic. Sunshot was a ton of fun to use. So I feel like if it was the only exotic we knew about, I would be feeling more like you are, Sharks. But because it's going to have a run for its money, like that Sweet Business, 99 rounds. Especially as a Titan behind that shield that does the auto reload, like that's a draw to me. And I've already played with a weapon like this in a Halo game. They already had like a straight laser gun. Bungie has already done this, so I'm not really a big fan of these. But having it added to my arsenal, maybe I will like it. I don't have to worry about not getting it. I'm cool with it. Agrios, what are your thoughts?
I think the rifle's cool. I'm just about had enough with the whole, really the whole pre-order bonus thing's just getting annoying at this point from everybody, frankly. But I mean, it is what it is to a degree, and I mean, it's easy enough to pre-order. I mean, especially since GameStop only requires $5 down.
Exactly.
You could literally go in there, put $5 down, get your code, cancel, put your code in, and then whenever you get around to buying the game, you've got the pre-order.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they made it if you log in the first week with Destiny 2, this is available to you type of thing. Like, not a pre-order, but if you buy the game your launch day.
That is an excellent idea. All right, what else we got, Agrios? We're running over.
Okay, so no other news. I don't want to spoil anything, but there is some extremely interesting cross posts from Destiny lore on the Reddit right now. We've as a community, from fairly small clues in the beta and whatnot, have uncovered quite a bit of interesting potential storyline for Destiny 2. So if you're at all interested in seeing what people's detective work and guesses for the future are, you might want to poke around on the subreddit for that. It's an interesting read.
Interesting. I will probably check it out because I want to know. Okay, if that's it, then let's do some shout-outs, starting with you, Sharks.
My shout out goes to a big time YouTuber, 4 million subs he has, and that's Boogie2988. He went in for gastric bypass surgery this week, and it all went well. And I just love his content, and I'm glad that it went well, and he'll be back doing YouTube soon. So shout out to him.
Very cool. Very cool. I saw that as well. Okay, Jez?
I don't know. I don't have any. I don't even have a joke one. Shout out to Spider-Gwen. Have that. Cool ass character.
It's so funny, Jez. You'd think that you would at some point like have one saved up like throughout the week. You're like, oh, like some turds I saw outside of my work, shout out to them or whatever. But
no, it's literally on the fly. I live in the now.
Excellent. Okay, my shout out is dual shout out. So first, today is David from Destiny Updates' birthday. And I know this because I have him on my Skype, and he was influential to me when I began doing my Dear Bungie videos, because I watched his videos and he made it seem like it was so easy, like have an opinion, talk about that opinion, and then move on. And I really enjoyed how casual he made it look. And I see now, that there's a lot put into it. But today is his birthday. Happy birthday. Also, I want to shout out to Gray, who is not here today, and running this while, once everything got set up and going right now, everything was fine. But in the beginning, it's all very stressful. And, I did it for years before he showed up. But having him around and doing it makes it a lot easier for me to just be me. And at the same time, it's nice to look at this behind the scenes again and see how it's working. Let's hope I don't mess up this outro as we go. So, David and Gray, thank you very much. Shout out to you. Agrios.
My shout out this week goes to one of my earliest gaming friends. Back in the 8-bit Nintendo days. I mean, I had an Atari when I was really young, but when I started to socialize with friends in school, I had an 8-bit Nintendo at that point in time. And we formed the secret Nintendo club. We'd get together every Saturday and play video games and trade games with one another. It was one of the things we'd all trade one game with each other every Saturday, then get it back the next Saturday and trade again. And it was a good plan. And, one time after one of these meetings, or during one of these meetings, was the night I got the Dragon Warrior, the very first Dragon Warrior NES game. And it wasn't really a game to play with other people around because it's single player and RPG and whatnot. So at the end of the night, when everybody went home, my friend Vince was still there, and we decided to start the game then. I let him go ahead and start and play, and I figured I'll just start my game right after he leaves, because we were just still waiting around for his mom to come. So he started a character and named it Sir Lance, and we played through for a little while on that, and then he had to go home. Well, I intended to start my own character, but I was having fun where we were at, and I just kind of kept playing from that point on. And that Sir Lance character became my Dragon Warrior character, because I was just already invested in that point and whatnot. And every once in a while, he'd ask me for an update how his character was doing in Dragon Warrior and whatnot when he found out that I continued on his character. And over the years, we remained friends, but he became not so much a gamer anymore. But every once in a while, jokingly, still late, into our lives, he'd ask me about the Dragon Warrior character. So that, is good memory and whatnot. And unfortunately, he passed a week ago. So my shout out this week goes to my friend Vince Bohoric, who's no longer with us. But thanks.
And that wraps up episode 143. I'm very sorry for your loss, Agrios. That's horrible.
Well, he wouldn't want everybody to be sad. I just wanted to share a nice story and whatnot. So he was a happy guy, and he's the type of guy who would want to party at his funeral. So
that was a really great story. Do you still have that cart?
I do.
Excellent. That's really cool. That's really cool. Okay, And that wraps up episode 143. We hope you, we would like to thank everyone listening for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any suggestions for topics to be discussed on the show, or have any comments or something that has already been covered, please leave them in the comments below or send them to feedback@guardian1.net, and we will see you next week.